Okay, so we are recording. So welcome to our first Zoom session. This Zoom session, I'm Renee DeMalley. I know you guys have already kind of met me a little bit already. But I'm Renee DeMalley. I teach 4 of your classes this term. I teach 1 lab class, which is your dental materials lab. So you guys have not met me for lab yet since we don't have dental materials lab this week. But I also teach 3 of your lecture courses this term. So I have a very lecture heavy schedule. So I teach DA 117, which is infection control. I teach DA 130, which is dental materials. And then I teach DA 140A, which is integrated basic science. So 3 lecture classes that you have with me this term. I will give you a more in-depth introduction to myself, and I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves when we are actually in lab, when we're in our smaller groups. It's a little bit easier that way. So next week we will get to know each other a little bit better, but today I'm going to really focus our Zoom session on these 3 lecture courses, kind of what's going on in the courses, and give you guys some answers to any questions that you might have. So the first thing that I want to do is I would like to take a quick look at our weekly schedule here. So I know you guys are familiar with this. You guys all have access to this. It was updated before we started this first week. And so I just want to make sure that I clarify any questions about it, because I know that I got some emails and there was a little bit of confusion. Your lab days are the same. Those have not changed at all, but we did restructure the lecture times a little bit. So you guys have hopefully already had, on Monday, you had your 110 lecture with Peggy. So we put that from 1 to 3. And then what we did on Thursday is we put all 3 of the lecture courses that I teach in this afternoon block. It says 1 to 2 here. I can edit that. I didn't catch that. We put these from 1 to 3. We won't take the full 2 hours during this session. And then you'll see Sandy for DA 120, you'll see her at 3 o'clock. So it might seem a little weird that there are 3 lectures kind of packed into this one time, but I will kind of talk to you about how I'm going to structure this time. It won't be like just me lecturing and showing a PowerPoint or anything like that. Are there any questions about the weekly schedule? And I can't see you guys, so if you have a question, please just start talking. I don't mind if you interrupt me either. Okay, well, then let's go ahead and talk about your lecture courses with me. So the way that I run my lecture courses is going to be the same for basically all 3 classes. This might differ a little bit from the way Peggy or Sandy or another instructor runs their classes. So I just want to kind of let you guys know what kind of I expect and how things will run. So lecture courses for the dental assisting program are typically done in person, but with COVID, we've changed things around quite a bit. Your courses are considered remote courses. They're online, but they're not actually considered an online course. They're considered a remote course. It's just a kind of a wording thing. There are some technical aspects to that, but just FYI. But all of your lecture classes are online. And for my courses, all of the material that you'll need is posted on D2l, and it's basically that you can work on it at your own pace, but you have to complete it by the posted due dates. So that means that even the lectures are video lectures. They are posted on D2l, and you're responsible for watching those lectures. So during this time, and you'll kind of see that today, this time is not going to be a very structured lecture. I'm not going to go over much lecture material. Actually, today, I'm really not going to go over any lecture material with you. But in subsequent weeks, so like next week, I will go over some of the stuff that I noticed from this first week and kind of give you guys some tips and things like that. So all of the information is on D2l. You are expected to work on it at your own pace throughout the week. And you do need to adhere to the posted due dates. So when I say at your own pace, it doesn't mean you have the entire term to do everything. It means that you still have to commit to the due dates, but you just have the whole week to kind of do it whenever you want. So some people are going to want to do things, in the evening. Some people are going to want to do things on the weekend. It just depends on, how you work and what works for you. So that's what I mean when I say at your own pace. There are weekly Zoom sessions, which is what this is. We are going to cover all 3 of the lecture courses. We'll discuss what's due this week. So what do we need to get done this week? We'll talk about any topics that I feel that the class kind of as a whole is struggling with. So before our lecture time, before this Zoom session, I go into D2l, I check the quizzes, I see kind of what the statistics are as far as, questions that a lot of students are missing. And if there's a question and more than 50% of the class got it wrong, then there's obviously there's some kind of disconnect there. So I want to make sure to go over those questions. And then the other thing is that when I do that, sometimes I find that there was something wrong with the question, like I worded it wrong, or, there were, multiple correct answers, something like that. So I can always go in and fix those. So I take a look at those things. And then this Zoom session will also be some Q&A time. So questions that you might have, especially with having 3 lectures online. And I only get to see you guys 1 day a week in lab. It doesn't give me a lot of face-to-face time with you. So this is a good time for us to talk about any questions you might have and any information that you might need. So as far as the actual structure of the D2l courses, this should be pretty consistent between my courses and other instructors as well. But when we talk about a week or a module on D2l, it always starts on Monday and ends the following Monday at 11:30 p.m. So modules open Monday at midnight. So between Sunday and Monday, when it hits midnight on Sunday, that's when the module will open. And then it will close the following Monday at 11:30 p.m. So you have a full week, just a little over a full week to get everything done for each week. And all assignments in my classes, anything, quizzes, assignments, they are all due at 11:30 p.m. So 11:30 p.m. is the due date or due time for anything in my classes. And as the syllabus says, there is no late work accepted. That being said, there might be some exceptions to that, but those are things that you would want to talk to me about. If you think there's some reason why you need an exception to the due date, you'll want to come talk to me and we can discuss that. But in general, I do not accept any late work. The due dates are pretty clearly posted in the syllabus and online. We kind of know as you go along in the courses, you'll understand, how the structure goes. Things are usually due on Mondays, so no late work. Critical thinking activities or discussion posts. I wanted to talk about these a little bit because I did get a few emails and they are a little tricky. The structure of them is a little tricky to figure out. But as far as these critical thinking activities, these are when you go on D2l in the discussion area, these are where you are going to collaborate with your classmates on some discussion activities. Since we're doing these remote, we want to have you guys interact with each other. So you will do a lot of these critical thinking activities throughout the year. So a critical thinking activity runs for 2 full weeks. So there's a couple different steps you have to take to complete the assignment. So like this week, week 1, we had some critical thinking activities open. So they opened on Monday. So that means they run for 1 week, so till next Monday, and then a full other week. So 2 Mondays from now is when the critical thinking activities will close. Once a critical thinking activity opens, you should go in and reserve your topic. So you can do this anytime during the first week, but just note that it's first come, first served. So there's 3 different topics that you can write about. There's 3 different questions basically. And so you can look at those 3 questions and you decide, okay, well, I really like question 2. Then you would want to reserve that topic because only 1 person per group can talk about a topic. So if you know that you want to do topic number 2, you want to go into the critical thinking activity or the discussion post and just put a post that says, I'm reserving topic number 2. And that way your group mates will see that and they'll know that they can't take topic number 2 because you've already reserved it. And so when you look at that, if somebody else has already reserved a topic, then you have to choose a different one. So in that respect, it's kind of nice to get in there early, kind of see what the topics are, and then you can reserve whichever one you'd like. So you can reserve it at any time. Just reserving it doesn't mean you're actually doing your
I have a question.
Post. Yes.
Do you pick our groups for us or do you pick our classmates, our group?
The groups are automatically selected in D2l. There's like an algorithm set up. So you are automatically in groups of 3. There are a couple groups of 4 just because we have an odd number of students. Yes, you're automatically in a group. I have nothing to do with picking the groups.
How would I see that?
So to see your group, when you go onto D2l and you look at the module, you'll see the discussion post or the critical thinking activity. That is your group. So when you click on that, you only see your group. You can't see anyone else in the class.
Okay.
So on the integrated basic science critical thinking group, I didn't see anybody posted on it, so I commented which one I wanted to pick. But then I saw all the comments and there were already 4 other comments. So there was like multiple people had already picked one and then the other 2 were already picked. So how do you know which one to pick if everyone's already picked one and there's more than 3 or 4 people?
Well, that doesn't sound like it's working the way it should, the way you're describing it. So that's odd. So let me go ahead and I will take a look at that. So you said that was for 140A?
Is that integrated basic science? I'm still remembering the numbers.
No worries. I know I'm so used to the numbers. And so I usually say the numbers, but sometimes I forget. You guys you probably haven't memorized all the course numbers yet.
No.
Okay, so I will go ahead and I will go in and take a look at that critical thinking activity. I'll see what's going on with it. And then I'll post an announcement with any updates about that one. Do you happen to know, did you go into the other critical thinking activities? Was it different or?
The other ones that I went into, I was either like the first or second person to comment, and there haven't been very many comments on it yet.
Okay.
The other one was the only one that had everything covered already, and I didn't see it until I had already made my post.
Okay, well, I will go ahead and take a look at that, and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you explain again where we find our groups?
Yes. So when you go on D2l and you enter a module, so let's say you're in the week 1 module and, it'll have the lecture posted and then it'll have, the quiz and it'll have the discussion post. That is your group. So you can only see your group's critical thinking discussion. So if you see the discussion posted and you click on it, you're in your group.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So you're only able to see your group. So you don't have to go and choose a group or find it. It should just be the one you see.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about reserving your topic. So you can reserve that anytime in the first week. And then you need to complete your initial post, which is your actual write-up. So answering the question, you'll want to do that by the next Monday. So like this Monday, like, a couple days ago, the critical thinking activity opened. So you have until next Monday, this coming Monday, to get that critical thinking post complete. So you have a full week to do that. And then after you've done that, then what you need to do is you need to go in and reply to each person in your group by Friday. So that's not this Friday, that's the next Friday.
Reply to them what though?
I'm sorry?
Reply to their comment or their...
You need to reply to their initial post.
The initial post.
So you're each doing an initial post. So you're each going to talk about your topic, right? You're each going to make a post about your topic. Then you're going to read your group's posts and you're going to comment on those. So you will comment on your group mates' posts by Friday, and this would be Friday of next week or week 2. And then you have to respond to any replies that you get. So people are going to comment on your post and you want to reply back to them. And those replies are due by the second Monday.
Okay. So the critical thinking discussion, are we going to do it as a group or is we going to do it as individual?
It's your initial post, and all of the actual posts you do are individually written. So you write your own posts, but you're doing it within a group setting.
Okay, and we all have to.
You're not working together on anything. You're not going to write something as a group. You're writing things as an individual, but you're commenting on your group's posts.
Okay, but in this case, we all have to pick the same topic, right?
No, you are all doing a different topic. That's why you have to go in and reserve your topic.
Okay.
Yes. So most of the groups are groups of 3. There are 3 topics per activity. So each person picks a different topic.
Got it.
And so when we are doing like in our groups for the critical thinking, so do we just figure that out amongst ourselves? And or do like how does that work?
What exactly are you asking me?
Like for the groups for the critical thinking activities, since we'll be in groups.
So like I said, the groups are automatically assigned in D2l. So you are already in your groups. So when you go on to D2l and you click on the discussion post or the critical thinking activity, you can only see your group.
And then that's how we communicate amongst each other, like to like map it out.
There's no mapping of anything. So you're going to go in and choose a topic. You're going to post about your topic. Then you are going to read your group mates' posts and comment on their topics. And then you have to just reply back if anybody comments on yours.
I just went in to claim a topic for this class,
Mhm.
and because you cannot see the post thread unless you've posted, I put in, I haven't chosen yet, and I posted it. And then I saw that nobody else had posted, so I edited that post to say I'm taking number 2.
Mhm.
So because I didn't see, I had to like put it just like a bogus post in just to see if
Gotcha.
anybody else had.
So I think I don't want it set up like that. So I will change that. I don't want it to be so that you have to post first. I want it to be so that you can see what other people have posted already. This is kind of a hard assignment to cheat on. So there's no reason to have that setting on there. So I will change that. So you will be able to see anything that anybody else has posted. Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, and when I went back when I was talking to you into the integrated basic science class,
Mhm.
people are like right now commenting on there. So there's already like 8 or 9 replies to that specific activity.
Okay.
Yeah, I just posted too, and I saw that. So
Okay. I will take a look. I'll take a look at the activities and make sure that everything is functioning and set up the way that it should be. Sometimes because these classes have been set up for a while, I didn't set it up. So it's like, it's kind of transferred over. So sometimes things don't quite transfer the way they should. So I will take a look at those and make sure that everything is going to run the way it should. Yeah, and I will post an announcement with any updates on that.
Okay, so called when you first reserve your topic, and then you just go back to your thread and then answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, and how many, is it a short paragraph or?
So what you'll want to do is you'll need to go and look at the rubric to see how things are graded. I don't want to go through the whole rubric right now because that'll take some time, but there is I can show it to you after we finish this PowerPoint. I'll go into the rubric and I'll show you where that is. And you'll want to take a very close look at that rubric because I grade these according to the rubric, and that'll help you. So I will do that as soon as we finish this PowerPoint. I'll go into D2l and show you guys that.
But, okay.
All right. Are there any other questions about critical thinking activities right now?
Okay, the critical activities, is it a post or just a writing?
It is a written post.
Okay.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through each course and just talk about what are we doing this week. So I just want to give you kind of an update and a reminder of these are the things that are due on Monday. So for DA 117, that's your infection control course. You've got 2 things that will be due on Monday. So you've got critical thinking activity number 1. So you'll need to do that initial post by this coming Monday at 11:30 p.m. And then
the initial post.
You have to do the initial post.
Is that reserving the topic or what is it exactly?
You should reserve your topic before you do your initial post.
So what's the initial? What do you do basically?
I will go over that when I look at D2l.
Okay.
So we won't go over that right now, but I'll pull up D2l and we can talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So you will need to have your initial post posted by Monday at 11:30 p.m. And then you will also have to have completed your concept quiz number 1 as well. And I want to just let you guys know, in case you haven't figured this part out already, for this course, there's a practice quiz that you have to take in order to open the concept quiz. So you have to complete the practice quiz with at least 70% before the concept quiz will open for you. So I just want to make sure that's very clear, because you have to, you're not just taking the practice quiz. You take the practice quiz, you have to get 70% or better, then the concept quiz will open and be available for you. And then you'll have to complete that by Monday. Does that make sense to everyone?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So just double checking that I made sure I did everything for this course. I went into grades. The only quizzes listed under grades are the actual graded concept quiz. Is that right?
That's correct.
Because I'm doing that to double check that I got everything done for this block. So cool.
Yep. And so that will be, yeah, the quizzes are auto graded, and yes, only the concept quizzes go into the grade book. So if it shows you a grade in there, then yep, you've got it done. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to DA 130. So DA 130 is Dental Materials 1. So this is the lecture course that goes along with your lab course that you'll be taking with me. So with this class, typically the way it works out usually pretty well, where the lecture material that you learn each week is what you're going to be doing in the lab. So like the material that you learn in lecture this week, that's going to be what you guys do in lab next week. So you'll kind of have that background knowledge when you get into lab. So for dental materials, you have the same thing as 117. You have a critical thinking activity that's due on Monday, and then you have a concept quiz. However, for this class, there's no practice quiz. So I don't have any practice quizzes built in. So you should just be able to see the concept quiz and take it. So you don't have to do a practice quiz. I know that's kind of confusing. Some of you will be like, well, where's the practice quiz? So just know there isn't one for this class. You'll just take the concept quiz. All right. And then the last lecture class that we want to talk about is 140A, which is your integrated basic science class. So I want you guys to know that this class is a 2-credit class. The other 2 lecture classes I teach are 1 credit. So there are going to be more assignments and requirements for this course than the others. Sometimes people are like, why is this class so heavy? There's so many things to do. Well, it's because it's a full credit more. So basically this class should take you twice as much time to get everything done as your other classes. So just putting that out there, this is a 2-credit class, so it's going to take you a lot longer to get things done. And the material in this class is a bit heavier. Well, for some people, so it will take you a little bit more time to get this class done each week. So just heads up on that. So with this class, you have a lecture assignment that is due this week. So the lecture assignment, you can either type that, or you can print it and handwrite it. I don't care which way you do it. Some people just prefer one way or the other, but you can fill that lecture assignment out, and then you're going to upload it to the assignment folder on D2l when you're done. And the lecture assignment follows the lecture fairly well. So it's definitely, I'm sorry? Does somebody have a question? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can do this real quick. I'm just muting everyone real quick. If you need to say something, you can unmute, but I'm just muting everyone. Okay, so lecture assignments. So the lecture assignments follow along pretty well with the actual lecture. So if you have that open or printed while you're actually watching the lecture, you should be able to get through that pretty quickly. And then you'll upload that to the assignment folder when you're done. So by Monday. You also have a CE course that you'll need to complete. These are done on dentalcare.com. I'm not sure if maybe Peggy went over dentalcare.com with you guys yet, but it's a very, very good website. We use it quite a bit for our classes, and you can take these continuing education courses on their website. You have to make an account, and yeah, we use it all the time, and it's a really, really great website. But you will take this CE course and then upload your completion certificate to the assignment folder once that's done. And then you also have a critical thinking activity as well as a concept quiz. So just like the other class, you've got those 2 activities plus the lecture assignment and the CE course. So that's what's going on in integrated basic science. Any questions about this class?
Should we be making flashcards each week for different terms?
That is completely up to you. So if flashcards are something that works well for you, then yeah, definitely do that. It's not a requirement. Some people don't work well with flashcards. Some people have other ways that they use to study. So whatever works for you is fine with me. However, I will point out this class does have a flashcard assignment that comes up in a couple of weeks. You'll get more information on that once that opens. And those are really specific flashcards that I'm going to have you make on specific terms and topics. So that'll come up in just a couple of weeks.
Are we allowed
Right.
to use the anatomy coloring book? Anyway, like right now, could I be using that just for studying, or is that going to be a part of an assignment?
You can definitely use that for studying. I use that more in, I also teach DA 142, which is Integrated Basic Science 2. And I use that a little bit more in that class than I do in this one, but you can absolutely use that now. I think it's a great book. Personally, when I was in school, I loved the coloring book. I thought it was really helpful for me and just the way I learn. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you as well. But there will be some assignments from it, just probably more so in our next course.
Am I going to mess up that assignment if I accidentally color on that page?
Nah, just color them semi-accurately and you'll be fine. All right. So any general questions before I pull up D2l and we can look at a couple things on there?
Oh, I do have one question. After I had done the quizzes to get all of the material, I got an email saying I hadn't done the quiz, but I already did and I have access to everything. Do I need to do anything else for you?
No, and I apologize for that. There are some, just a little background information for you guys. So all of our remote courses were originally, well, most of them, they were originally set up by the folks at PCC that work in the online learning department. So they did all this background work for us. And one of the things that they did was they set up a lot of these automated messages. And I think what that did was the way they had set it up, it was sending an automated message to anyone who got a score of less than 100% on any attempt on the quiz. And usually people don't get 100% right away. So if you had gotten, a 90% and then 100%, it still sent you an email. So I think everybody got the email. So that's unfortunate, but I've removed all of those automated messages. So any automated messages that go out now will be things that I actually create. So hopefully they'll be slightly more accurate, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other general questions? And then I will pull up D2l here.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I was looking at all the critical thinking activities, and the only one that doesn't look like we're in groups already is the 140.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I will go in and take a look at that. And then I'm trying to think, if you're not already in groups, it might be kind of hard to put you in groups, but I'll take a look at it and come up with some sort of solution. And then I will send you guys an announcement.
Okay, thank you.
I won't give you more work than you already have though. So just.
And are you going to show us that tab when you pull up D2l?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's pull this up. Okay, so I'm going to show you, so this is DA 130. I'm going to show you this, I'm only going to show you one course because they're all laid out the same. I'm not going to show you 140 because that one's not laid out correctly, it sounds like. So I will deal with that and figure something out with that. But let's look at one that's hopefully set up correct. So this is DA 130. So I think the best way to get there is just to go to your content section and then focus on each weekly module. You guys may or may not have all of these tabs up here. My view is going to look a little bit different since I'm in the instructor view. You may or may not be able to get to your discussions this way, but the best way is going to be to just go through the weekly module, because that way you're going to the right discussion post and doing the correct work for the week. So we'll go to week 1 here. It says week 1. And then when we go down, we've got our lecture here, we've got our critical thinking activity, and then we've got our quiz. So everything's kind of laid out here. So, and again, this is going to look a little bit different to you than it does to me. This is one area on D2l where I can go into student mode, but when I go into student mode, I can't see it the way that you guys do. So sometimes if there's an issue with it, I have to really use my brain because I can't see it the way you do. So anyway, it'll look something like this, but it might look a little different. So this right here is how you get into it. You just click this link that says critical thinking activity number 1, and it will take you straight to the discussion post. I don't think mine is going to look, yeah, it does look good. Okay, so mine looks fine. So right here, this is a really good thing to look at. So this is going to be like your guide. It's like your little diagram for how these critical thinking activities work. So on Monday, so this would be Monday of this week that just happened a few days ago. Monday, the module opened, right? So everything opened on Monday. This critical thinking activity became available. So at some point during the week, you could do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can do it anytime during the week. You want to reserve your topic. It says here to do it by Friday. I mean, honestly, you could do it anytime, does not matter. But you want to go in and reserve your topic. If you don't reserve your topic, you just get whatever topic is left after other people have already picked. So if you don't care, then yeah, you don't have to reserve a topic because you'll just take whatever's left, but you would want to reserve your topic. So how do you know what the topics are? Well, when you look at the actual discussion post here, it gives you the topics. So there's 3 scenarios here, and it gives you just kind of a general, like this first scenario is on cosmetic dentistry. The second one is on ideal characteristics. To see them, you can click on this little arrow. This is looking different than it'll look for you because again, I'm in instructor mode, but when you click the little arrow, it tells you this is your discussion topic here for scenario 1. So if you choose scenario 1, this is what you need to talk about. So this says, as you've completed this week's reading and lecture, you are reminded of a term you've seen before, cosmetic dentistry. What do you think this term refers to? Give an example of a material that might be used in cosmetic dentistry and how. So this, if you choose scenario 1, this is what your discussion post, your initial post is going to be about. You're going to write about this topic. If you don't like that topic and you want to choose scenario 2, then scenario 2, this is what you are going to talk about. So you're going to just choose one of these 3 scenarios to talk about. So let's say I look at this and I decide I really like number 1. Scenario 1 is what I want to talk about. Well, when you go into your discussion post, you should be able to see if there are any posts from your group. If somebody has said, I'm reserving scenario 1, you can't write about scenario 1 because these are all time stamped. I can see who chose it first. You can't choose that. You have to choose a different one. So everyone's going to talk about a different topic. So that's how you know what the topics are. And then to reserve it, you're just going to go and hit start a new thread. And then you're going to do a post and see right here, we have Alondra picked. I will be picking scenario number 1. So it's right there. So that's how you know if somebody's already picked it, is you'll see their post. And if no one else has picked it, then you can post and say you're going to take that one. So that is what I mean by reserving a topic. So after the module opens on Monday, anytime during the week, you can go in and reserve your topic. Then also at any time during the week, you want to get your initial post done. You don't have to wait to do your initial post. You can do that as early as the first Monday. You can do it anytime. But it's due the following Monday. So the module opened on one Monday, the next Monday is when that initial post is due. Okay.
The initial post is a paragraph, like a writing set.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you will get that initial post done by Monday. And then after you have posted your initial post, then you need to go in and you need to reply to each of your group mates. So you'll usually, like I said, there's going to be 3 people in a group. You made an initial post, so that's done. Now you need to read the posts that each of your 2 group mates wrote, and you need to comment on them. So you're going to comment on both of those people's posts,
How many sentences is the paragraph?
I will go over that when I talk about the rubric in a minute.
Okay.
So you will do the replies to their initial posts. Those are due by Friday. So those will be due by that Friday. So you've got Monday, and then Friday. And then by the next Monday, you have to reply back. So you're going to respond back to any replies on your post. So let's say I posted my initial post and I had Brian and Ann commented on my post. So they commented on my post. I'm going to reply back to them on what they said. So they said, you know, wow, this was a great post. I think that you did a great job explaining this. You know, what do you think about the idea of XYZ? And then I'll respond back and say, oh, that's a great point. I didn't think of that. You know, this is what I think. So it's a conversation. This is creating a discussion. It's creating a conversation between you and your group mates. That's the goal of this. And once you guys do one or two of these, you'll have the hang of it. And then the rest of the year, you'll just be, you'll know exactly what to do with these. I know it's a little bit confusing at the start.
I have a question.
Yes.
So each week it says we're given a critical thinking activity. I was wondering, like for this one, activity 1, it opens on Monday, and then the initial post is the next Monday, and then this critical thinking activity closes on the 3rd Monday.
Mm-hmm.
When will the second critical activity open up in between all of those due dates?
Typically, it opens when the first one closes. So there's never two going at the same time. So once the first one closes, the second one will open. And we can take a look at the schedule, and that'll lay it out pretty easily. So right now what I'm going to do is I went to content, and I'm going to go to course information. And then I am going to go to course schedule here, and let's take a look at that first. So this is showing here, here's week 1. Week 1, we have our initial post for critical thinking activity 1. And then during week 2, that's when you work on your replies and responses. We skip a week here, so there's no critical thinking during week 3. And then during week 4, we have critical thinking activity number 2, initial post is due that week. So in this class, we're going to skip a week there. It may be different in the other classes, so make sure to check out the schedule to see if you want to know just what's coming up, just take a look at the schedule.
I had a question.
Sure.
So for the course schedule, I was able to print out for all of them minus 2 of your classes, which was infection control, and dental materials lab wasn't allowing me to open it or
Okay.
even request access.
So dental materials lab, I'm going to give that one to you when you're in lab. So I don't think there's really anything on D2l for the lab. So you won't need that on there. I'll give that to you. And then for infection control, let's take a look at that in just a minute. I'll take a look at that. Okay, we'll go over there in just a second. Okay, so that's where you can find the course schedule. The other thing I want to look at is I'm going back to the course information section. And what I am going to look at is right here, critical thinking activity grading rubric. So I'm not going to go over this in detail right now. This is your job to look at this more closely. I'm just going to show you where it is and what it looks like. So again, this is going to show you kind of remember how the critical thinking activity goes when each part is due. So this is how you're graded. So when I look at your critical thinking activities, I use this rubric, and that is how I grade you. So like if you look at this first line item, this is adherence to prompt. So we have 4 different options for points that you can get. You can get 2.5 points if you've submitted it on time and your post addressed all the questions about the case. So if there were multiple questions or things that you needed to talk about, I would say, yes, your post hit all those points, you would get 2.5 points. If you submitted it on time, but it addressed most of the questions, but maybe it addressed most of the questions, but may only touch on 1 or 2 of them, like if there was something missing, I'd give you 2 points. I'd give you a fair. And then needs work would be if it was submitted late, or like you just completely missed the topic and it didn't make any sense to me, then you might get that one. And then if you just didn't post, then you get a 0. So this rubric is how you should take a close look at this to see how I'm going to grade you. So you can go ahead and take a look. Here's about mechanics. So any grammatical errors, spelling, things like that. And then, so that's just for your initial post here is this first table. Then when we go down your replies, so this is replying to 2 classmates. You are going to, this is how I'm going to grade you on that. So this is expands on the original topic and then your mechanics. So same thing. I'm just going to choose a box that best fits with how your post looked. And then when you respond back, you also get points for that. So when you respond to the replies, this is where I will grade you on that. So this is the exact rubric I use. I just go through, I pull this up, I pull up your post, and I just click, 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 click. As I read your post, I just give you your points that way. And then I also will comment. Like if I mark you way down on something, I will, if you get full points on something, I usually am not going to give you a lot of feedback because it's too many people to do that for. Sometimes I do, but if I'm marking you down on something, I'll always tell you why you're being marked down because you'll want to know why. So I will always tell you that. Okay, so that's where you can find the rubric. Take a look at that. And then let me go in real quick to infection control. Let me just take a quick look at the schedule while we're in here. I think this one I hid the schedule because it had old dates on it. And so I just hid it. And I hadn't had a chance to go back in and do it. So yeah, the schedule isn't listed here, but you can click here on the printable syllabus and schedule. You may have to request access to it, which lots of you have been doing. And I get an email every time someone requests access and I just approve it. So I've been doing that pretty regularly. So if it tells you need access, just click the thing to request access and I will give that to you.
But that one didn't give me the option to request access.
Okay, well, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe email me about that privately and we can figure that out.
If we manage to print that weekly schedule before you hit it, it doesn't matter about the dates. The weeks are still going to be the same, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes. Thank you. I just know that's confusing for some people. They're like, why does it have old dates on it? Because I didn't update it. So there's the schedule here in the syllabus for you. So this will give you all the topics, the readings, and then the assignments that are going to be due. So I'll take this and I will copy this over and I'll put it back where it should have been in the course information. So I will add that, but then yes, if you request access, you'll have access to the printable copy of the syllabus. But just so you guys also know, all of the information that's in the syllabus is in this course information tab. It's just in different places. So like all of these little pages are parts of the syllabus. So that's your syllabus. And then this is just the printable version. And again, I'll take the schedule and I'll make another line item so you can just easily see the schedule on here as well.
I have a quick question about this week's material from this
Sure.
class. So, and I haven't been to clinical lab yet, so that might be part of it. But in the material, it says we'll be changing our masks between patients. And thinking back to the orientation, I didn't really get that vibe. Can you clarify that for me, please?
I would say you will need to talk to Peggy about that. I am not up to date on what exactly, because as far as clinic goes and COVID, things have evolved so much over the last year. And even just these little things change frequently. And so I'm not 100% sure, since I'm not usually in with patient care, what they're currently doing. So Peggy will definitely know that. Typically, we change our masks between patients. Normally, that's what we do. My guess, I'm hesitating to say something that I'm guessing, but I'm going to tell you anyway. My guess would be, so you typically, if you're in patient care, you're going to be wearing your N95 basically the entire time you're in there. And then a lot of times you'll wear a mask over that. Like people wear a mask or a shield over that. If you're wearing a mask over that, that mask should be changed between patients, because that would be what is getting, splatter and things like that. So that would be my best guess. But again, Peggy will give you that information in clinic. Okay, so other questions? I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so I've got a couple of things I'm going to do for you guys. I wrote some notes here. So I'm going to make sure and go into 140A. I'm going to check on that critical thinking, see what's going on with the groups or lack of groups. And then I will post an announcement with any updates or corrections to that. And then I will also repost the schedule for infection control. So I'll make sure that has its own line item just so that you guys can easily click on that. And that should be good to go. Anything else you guys need me to do?
Will we be meeting every week still for just questions and answers? Like we bring our own, and if it goes quiet, then that's the end of session.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, so like today it's 1:47. So as soon as people are done with questions, then we will call this a day. And again, I'll have a PowerPoint each week. And again, I will hit on all 3 of the courses, depending on kind of how the week went, how people did on the quiz or assignments. I will talk about those things a little bit. But again, I'm not going to go into any depth over the lecture or anything like that. One other thing to say is that if you feel like you are just really lost or you have a lot of questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have a calendar set up where you can meet with me during office time. We can meet virtually or in person if it's a day that I'm on campus. And I'm happy to meet with you and go over things more in depth if that's needed. Just because one, we only have so much time when we're on Zoom, but also, you may not want to talk about things in front of the entire class. So that's totally fine. We can absolutely have a little powwow together. So just feel free to reach out to me anytime if you need anything. Yeah, I'm always around. Okay, any last questions? All right, well, thank you guys for coming today. I will get you guys some updates on those 2 things. I'll post those, and I'm good at posting announcements when things change. So make sure you're signed up to get those sent to your email if you'd like. And I will see you guys all next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.